hear about the story the Wall Street Journal broke earlier this afternoon? Boy, it's quite a story. A lot of people are going to be talking about this, saying that the Department of Health and Human Services is about to come out with a report claiming that there's a link between autism and the use of Tylenol during pregnancy. Statement out now to NewsNation about this. HHA spokesperson saying that they're using gold standard science to investigate the unprecedented rise in autism rates, called the journal's claims nothing more than speculation, okay? Maker of Tylenol now is a company called Kenvue, is weighing in on all of this, saying they appreciate the HHS shooting down the journal report. And in a separate statement, Kenvue said that there's no causal link between acetaminophen use during pregnancy and autism. All right, we want to talk to a doctor about this in the few minutes we have left on the show today. It's Dr. William Parker who joins us. Like I said, even before the show, did you see what the Journal reported? There's going to be a lot of talk given who heads HHS, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. What should we know about this?
Well, so Secretary Kennedy has traditionally thought that maybe vaccines were associated with autism. So,
right.
You know, he's mostly, in that case, looking at postnatal exposures. And I think if you look at what his nonprofit that he worked with previously before he became secretary is saying, they're saying that, well, okay, it does look like it is acetaminophen. And the original information that came out regarding the connection between acetaminophen and autism dealt with the postnatal period. So in my mind, the big question is he going to focus on prenatal in their report? And they're not saying, or is he also going to talk about, in my team, and I'm a scientist, I am a PhD in biochemistry, chemistry, I work with pharmacologists, toxicologists. Our data says it's probably acetaminophen is probably the most dangerous for neurodevelopment in the peripartum period, right at the time of birth when you clamp the umbilical cord.
What is it linked to specifically? Not autism in any studies, but other issues you're saying that it is linked to in studies, acetaminophen?
Right. So the link is primarily the one that I study is with autism spectrum disorder, but ADHD is also linked, and developmental delays in general are linked with the acetaminophen use. And there's a great study out of Hopkins in 2000, just looking at cord blood, so at the time of birth, and the correlations there are much stronger than what you see during pregnancy typically. So we just, again, the question is, should we really be looking at the pregnancy period or after? And you know, this whole thing with vaccines came up because of regressive autism, which is happening later, and which is Kennedy originally had his focus on.
So where are the recommendations now? So just so I know, so for acetaminophen, which is in Tylenol, that's why we're talking about Tylenol. So there's no recommendation against its use in pregnancy now. What about in that other period that you're talking about? I mean, what are the current recommendations, and do you think we're at a point where that might start to change, or we got a ways to go, I would think?
So I think the data are there, and we published a number of papers on this. The issue is getting from having the data, having everything make sense, to getting to public policy changes. So the lowest hanging fruit is obstetrics, right? Because that's where, if you're getting a C-section, Tylenol doesn't do any good, but it's still on protocols, and that's where the heaviest associations are. And then, you know, there's a lot of data that is now telling us, and it's not just associations, it's also looking at laboratory animal studies when we know it's highly toxic, even at doses close to what we give humans in laboratory animals, and we even know it's male specific in laboratory animals. So it has a lot, and it's a social analgesic for adults, so it's doing something to social parts of the brain. There's a lot of off-target effects of this drug. So we know a tremendous amount that just hasn't made it into policy, and a lot of the studies right now are focused just on pregnancy, which is a problem. Say peripartum or is 50%, and say regressive autism is 30%. That doesn't leave a lot for pregnancy, and you might just miss everything if you only focus on pregnancy.
All right, I suspect this is the first of many conversations we'll have about this. We'll see where it goes after the Journal report. Thanks for today, Dr. William Parker with us. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.